Filmmaker Commentary, episode 166. Welcome to Filmmaker Commentary, where we cover movies with commentaries from directors who take the time to record them on Blu-ray and DVDs.
We also give our detailed insights, so look out for spoilers.
We discuss the latest in showbiz news along with movies and TV shows that we've been watching.
So join Reginald Titus Jr.
That's me. And KCG Smith.
That's me. Every week here on Filmmaker Commentary.
Welcome to another episode of Filmmaker Commentary. I'm Reginald Titus Jr. I'm joined with
KCG Smith.
Welcome back, sir.
Good to be back, sir.
And today we're talking about X, written, directed, and produced by Ty West, 2022. What kind of budget did we have for this film, and what was the box office as well?
So once again, Blumhouse strikes. With the Blumhouse strikes with a $1 million budget.
I thought it was A24.
Well, Blumhouse, I think, helped
Produced
with
it?
the distribution. I thought I saw them on here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another film. But yeah, A24 definitely did produce this. Yes, it is A24.
Yeah, they're distributors on this one.
Yeah, so A24 and Lionsgate strike again.
Yes.
With you know what? I'm thinking about Megan when I saw that. Yeah. But yes, this is A24. They strike again. $1 million budget and a $15 million global box office. That is a win.
Agreed. Huh. Well done. Yeah, I'm surprised by the budget.
Me too. I was like, haha. It's good to see some of these films that we've reviewed of late. A little inflated on the budget and not enough return.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see a win.
And them like punching above their weight. A24, we've seen that with the Sean Baker movies, and I think with Ty West. Keeping like the budget, being responsible, physically responsible on the budget, and then just going hard with the marketing. And with the marketing on this film, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but it looks great. Did this film win any awards?
Not really any major awards of note. More so nominated for quite a few by different critic associations across the country and the world, but it did win the Boston Society Film Critics Awards for Best Cinematography by Elliot Rocket, the Golden Tomato Awards for Best Horror Movie. That's a Rotten Tomatoes award, and it also won the Sunset Film Circle Award for Best Horror Film.
Okay, we'll take it. What was the sentiment? Because it was 2022 at the time. What was the vibes, sentiment wise?
It seemed to be pretty well received, and especially since we're going to be covering the prequel to this, Pearl.
Yeah.
It seemed well received, and to have these kind of hit back to back and give a nice kind of boost, if you will, a little breath of fresh air to the slasher genre. Of course, we're going to dive more into that in the details, but I think this was received pretty well. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, for sure. Before we talk further about X, let's talk about TV news and movies watched.
So in the news, according to IndieWire, Creed 3 starts March with a KO and another Jonathan Majors success.
Boom.
So according to IndieWire, it begins a critical march that will see other sequels with strong potential debuts. Of course, it's talking about Creed 3. And 2023 is just to improve to the minimum goal of a $9 billion U.S. and Canadian gross. Actually, here's what I wanted to make mention of, is that with Creed 3, something pretty cool is happening. So in essence, because Majors was also in Ant-Man Quantumania and as Kang, and that film was number one for the past 2 weeks. He isn't top billed in either, but clearly he is a lead in both. For one person to star in 2 consecutive number one titles is rare, to put it mildly. Pursuing the past decade showed it last happened when Mama replaced Zero Dark 30, both which Jessica Chastain starred in as a lead all the way back in January of 2013. So to have an actor in consecutive #1 films hasn't happened since 2013, and Jonathan Majors is doing that.
Wow. And that was, what was the name of those films?
Mama and Zero Dark 30.
Mama. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, some winning happening.
Absolutely
happening there. That's all I had for news. What you been watching, Reginald?
Haven't had a chance to watch too much, but I did begin watching Ozark.
Okay, on Netflix.
Yes. Yeah. So kind of coming late to the party. And it's one of those things where it's like I kind of see what the people are talking about. Everybody from all walks of life, like, you need to watch Ozark. You need to watch Ozark. I'm like, okay. After watching, we're like on episode 3 of season 1. Mm-hmm. The vibe, the energy of people talking about it and watching it reminds me of the same energy House of Cards had.
Oh, okay.
With Kevin Spacey, like the energy. Hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And everybody's like kind of waiting for the next episode. That's what it reminded me of. I'm like, this is well done.
Okay, I think my mom has watched some of Ozarks as well.
Yeah, it's crossed boundaries. Like from people from all walks of life have told me about it. Yeah. Usually when people suggest things, I can kind of put them in a box in a way. Be like, okay, if you're into the nerd things, or if you're into certain genre pieces, then you'll fall into this category. Or you kind of recommend stuff to people based on, what they like. But this one seems to cross.
Mm-hmm. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I've never heard anybody really not like Ozarks.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, so much. And on top of that, Netflix has always got it at the top. They must have spent a pretty penny on it, because Netflix has always got that at the top showing. Like, watch it.
Well, I guess they're familiar, because I don't see it pop up too much on mine anymore. But again, the algorithm knows.
Yes. Have you seen it already?
I have not. I haven't watched any of it. But I've got several things on my plate right now that I've jumped into, which I'll be sharing. And
that's all I got for that. I'm gonna keep my stuff short since we got some things to talk about.
Okay. All right. So I jumped back into Yellowstone. I had watched maybe half of the very first episode of the first season over a year ago. When I was hanging out, I was staying with some family, and it looked interesting, but I never circled back around to it. So finally, I was like, you know what? Some people were talking about it at work this week, and I was like, I feel it's time to jump back into it.
Yeah.
So I watched the first episode, and it's good. So I'm looking forward to continuing that. But I also, what I started watching on Paramount Plus, which I really am enjoying, is somebody also mentioned his work, but it's Sylvester Stallone in King of Tulsa.
Oh, okay, Stallone.
Mm-hmm. He's playing a recent mafia convict who's just spent like 20 or 25 years in jail and just got out. Mm-hmm. Never ratted on his people, and then gets relocated to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's like his next assignment. And it's cool seeing Stallone in this role, because he's playing an older guy. He's playing this gangster, but he is cool.
Yeah,
like this is a pretty awesome role to see Stallone in.
Okay,
and I'm digging it, man. I'm
okay,
really digging it. So I'm 3 episodes in. Yeah, King of Tulsa. So far, so good on Paramount Plus. Bow. I also watched a movie on Netflix. I just came upon it by happenstance, called The Strays. Have you heard of this?
On Netflix.
On Netflix.
I have not.
All right. Without going like spoiler heavy, just based upon what I saw in the trailer, there's a very light-skinned African-American woman. This is set like over in England.
Okay.
But she's living a very posh life, married to a white man with obviously mixed children, and she is doing everything she can to assimilate in a very white neighborhood and community. But you could see that she puts work into it. Yeah. And slowly but steadily, when she looks, she sees a black person, like a very, very more urban, like black looking person. And she's kind of taken back by it.
Like, she ain't black. Now that actually rings a bell. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen an episode, but I think I've seen the trailer.
It's a movie. It's a straight movie. Yeah. It's an hour and some change. It's not super long. Yeah. Yeah. Would love to get your take on it and to see what Ashanti says about it. But yeah,
this is like
the Strays.
This has been on like memes, right? Like this has been on on the social medias.
I hadn't seen anything about it. I had heard nothing about it.
If I don't remember, I think what they're saying I think the meme said if those kids had a face. So maybe I think it's referencing this movie.
I don't know,
okay.
but it was entertaining.
Solid.
I was like, whoa! But yeah,
okay,
worth checking out. It's some cool drama that takes place, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of like it has kind of Jordan Peele vibes. But it takes a little bit of a twist, but it's also kind of giving a commentary. But yeah,
racial commentary. Let's go.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Sign me up.
The Strays. Also, I jumped back into the Umbrella Academy. Like it's a show that I watch. I'll binge some episodes for a while, and then I'll take like a break for like months or a year, and then jump back into it. They're on their third season.
Okay.
For those if you haven't seen Umbrella Academy, it's very much so. It was based off a graphic novel, but it's very much so to me reminds you of the X-Men.
Okay.
It's definitely sci-fi, but there's some interesting drama in between. There's a little bit of time stuff that kind of takes place as well, but that's just based on some abilities. But it's been entertaining. So season 3 of that, and then I know the last season is coming sometime, I think this year.
Okay.
So yeah, Umbrella Academy. Also, still been rocking through some Wednesday on Netflix with
Ortega.
Jen Ortega. She's still crushing it in that. Also, of course, this week was the season premiere of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus.
What season is it on?
This is season 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So they had their first episode of season 3. And so, The Mandalorian and little Grogu are back. And you could really see that relationship developing where now Mando has taken on Grogu like truly like as his kid, you know, and so you see those vibes going. That it's very cute. But yeah, so Mandalorian's doing its thing, so that is kicked off. One show that I actually finished, animated show, Disney Plus, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So that's been cool because again, I love seeing representation, in many forms, but in particular seeing African American character, a black character that's focused on STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Like this girl's super smart, but it's got this flavor to it as well. But she has got a family that owns a roller rink, and she's got like a family, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Like okay, cool. And then she's got a best friend whose name also happens to be Casey. Latina, who is like super into like social media stuff, and like then those two make a good what the hell? Excuse me. Like they make a good team. And they're like besties or whatever. Anyway, but there's an episode I can actually text you about. There's an episode that comes up called hair today, gone tomorrow, that deals with like natural hair, because like Luna Lafayette, aka Moon Girl, is known for like she's got like this beautiful natural hair, like these big Afro puffs, and this episode kind of deals with her, and a student saying something to her about her hair. A white student says something to her about her hair, and it gets to her. And it was, I thought it was a cool, really well done episode. But they deal with like multiple things throughout, and yeah, man, Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur. It's only 6 episodes.
Okay.
The first episode is a little bit longer. It's like a pilot. The rest of the episodes, 25, 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So you can burn through. But if you got kids, I definitely recommend watching with your kids, especially if you got little girls. It's important for them to see this kind of representation.
Absolutely.
And Moon Girl, Devil Dinosaur, Disney Plus.
Plus, it's good to see positivity, especially for Black community, because there's plenty of programming, but in the opposite direction where it's negative. And so it's like I can't even watch that with the family. Exactly.
Yeah. This one has good vibes all the way, and even like some cool lessons like worked in, but also it brings some flavor. So
okay.
So yeah, I enjoyed that. Also, I finished the Murdow Murders, a Southern Scandal.
Oh God!
And it's interesting that I finished it right as the verdict was handed down for one Alex Murdaugh, who was found guilty and convicted of murdering his wife and son.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's
when you look at the
insane.
pictures, because like we started like the first episode, and it kind of around. Now it's different from Tiger King, but it's still like watching a train wreck. You know what I'm saying? And
you know it's not going to end well.
Yeah, it's like this is anyhow. Just yeah. Looking at that guy in the pictures, like that guy like a psychopath.
He doesn't look right.
Yeah,
right.
Like something's off with this guy. It's like, what drug did he take? All of them? Like that's what he looks like.
All that money that he spent is like. You know, it said he spent it all on Oxycontin. Is like, nah.
It looks like it in that picture, like he took it all.
Yeah, but I recommend
$1 million a pill.
I recommend finishing the series. It's because it's quite fascinating.
So apparently they have another version of it on HBO.
I heard somebody else,
and they said that one's a little bit better than Netflix.
See, I heard the opposite. I heard that Netflix goes into more detail. So I'm going to go and check out the HBO.
What's your flavor? I guess
so, but it's only 3 episodes on Netflix. Each one's about 45 minutes to an hour. It's a pretty quick. It's pretty quick to get through. But each episode's different enough and deals with a different murder. Like unfortunately, it's like it's like a trail of blood. You know, with this family, and
kind of shows you that you can have all the money in the world and doesn't mean that god darn thing.
No sir. But yeah, it's worth checking out.
Okay.
Still also on The Last of Us. The last episode that I watched was really good. That's really in pop culture right now. Everybody's talking about The Last of Us. The young girl who's playing Ellie, she's phenomenal. Hey. Like that young actress is crushing it. Also, I wrapped up Young Rock. Like I finished. I think the season is done. Maybe there's going to be another episode, but finished that up for the year. Again, I always love that show. I watched another episode of Rap-ish, and that one I have to watch in chunks because sometimes it gets a little too ratchet for me. I'm like, and I get frustrated when something's too ratchet. I'm like, okay, I had enough. So I do like an episode at a time.
How many episodes you got left on that?
I'm still in the first season still.
It's only one season, isn't it?
I think it's 2 seasons.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2 seasons.
Really?
I think so.
I don't know. I can't confirm. I thought we just watched one unless the season 2 just recently dropped.
Let's see. But yeah, I
Ratchet. What's ratchet about it?
Her homegirl is
yeah, it's just one season.
Well, yeah, so I'm still working through it.
What episode are you on?
Episode 6. I'm about 7 minutes into
something for the gram.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got 2 more. Yeah, it is ratchet though.
It is only one season. I thought it was 2 for some reason.
Yeah, you only got a couple more episodes.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's all I've been watching.
That's a lot. Yeah. Today's show was sponsored by
Natural Hair the Movie by Grinder Matter Films, available to stream on Tubi for free and Roku on demand. Please check us out and leave a review.
Now let's jump back into the show. Thank you for tuning in to Filmmaker Commentary. Today we're talking about X, written, directed, and produced by Titus. And now let's jump into the synopsis. A group of actors set out to make an adult film in rural Texas under the noses of their reclusive host, an elderly couple with a farm and boarding house for rent. But when the couple catches their young guest in the act, the cast finds himself in a desperate fight for their lives. X, rated R.
And if this is your first time listening to Filmmaker Commentary, please know that there will be spoilers. You've been forewarned.
Yes, indeed. Can you tell us about our cast?
Yes, sir. So the cast of X, it's nice, quick, and to the point. I'll let you know everybody in the film. We've got Mia Goth as Maxine and Pearl. We have the great Jenna Ortega as Lorraine.
Yes, indeed.
We have Brittany Snow, hello, as Bobby Lynn. We also have Kid Cudi as Jackson, but on the credited as Scott Muscudi.
Yeah, his actual name.
Yes, sir. We have Martin Henderson as Wayne. We have Owen Campbell as RJ, punk.
Yeah.
We have Stephen as Howard. We have James Galen as Sheriff Dentler. We have Simon Prass as the televangelist. We have Jeff Dolan as Deputy. We have Matthew J. Saville as Officer Mitchell. And we have Brioni Skillington as the store clerk. That's the whole cast.
I love it.
Keeping it at a mill.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done.
Yes, sir.
How did you watch this film? What did you know about this film before we got into it?
I watched this film on Blu-ray, purchased off on Amazon. And going into this, I'd only known of Pearl.
Yeah.
We made mention of Pearl. We had seen the trailer for it. And then in discussion last episode, I'd heard X pop up, but didn't know that it was
associated with Pearl.
Yeah, well, I saw the trailer for X, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is okay." I now recognize the actress. I'm okay. This is tied in with Pearl. You mentioned a prequel. I'm like, oh, so X comes first, then Pearl. So yeah, that's how I stumbled across it. How about you?
I've been seeing the key art to X. I think I remember the trailer, but I would see this key art everywhere. I was like, this makes me want to watch it. Like it has the X on the front. You have Mia Goth like holding the axe close to her chest. It's interesting. She's holding the axe. She's holding the axe close to her chest, and then she just kind of looking like her eyes aren't like symmetrical, and so she just has a unique look. You know, she's pretty, but kind of off a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
And so she has this unique look. So I was like, huh. Then you flip over the key, you flip over the Blu-ray, you see, it's like, oh, I know that lady. That's Ortega. And she's got that, that.
She's in full on scream queen horror face.
She's like one of the best screamers of this generation.
Yeah, she's looking terrified.
She's got that dialed in.
Yeah, yes, she does. But she loves horror. Like she loves being in horror films, and she's a dark one. But she's doing her thing.
So I remember this about 6-7 months ago. Whenever it was like I was at Walmart or Target, I can't remember, but I would always see this like, okay, I'm gonna check this out one day, and I keep hearing about it, and then Pearl popped up out of nowhere, so I was like, we gotta check this out.
I did see this key art pop up quite a bit, the key art 4X, but I didn't pay much attention to it, especially once I heard of Pearl. I was just thinking, okay, somehow it's related or was the same thing. I guess I wasn't paying that much attention. But a buddy of mine said that when he would go to the movies, he would always see trailers for X. Yeah, constantly. I'm like, okay, but I just hadn't gone to the theater that much. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this looks interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched it on DVD. I was planning on getting the Blu-ray, but I went to Movie Trading Co. They said they had a Blu-ray in, they couldn't find it, so I just ended up renting the DVD. I thought it had commentary, but I guess not.
Alas, no.
But hey, we covered anyway. What did you like or not like about the movie?
Man, I really like this film, especially upon second viewing. Yes, it's nice.
It's a good comeback after our last week.
Yes, sir. Back at it.
It's a relief, right?
Oh, indeed. I like the cinematography. I liked the end reveal of who Mia's father is. Yeah. I was like, yo. And then when you go back and watch it, like I like another is the foreshadowing. There is a whole bunch of foreshadowing of how people will die. And it just like all these connections that you have to watch the film a second time. You'll see these things more clearly.
Absolutely.
Mia's performance as both Maxine and as Pearl.
I call Mia Goth. She will be a legend. I had no idea that she was playing both of those characters.
Yeah, especially as Pearl, because I had a hunch maybe, and I'm looking, but it wasn't until for sure at the end when you see the credits, and then when you see the behind the scenes of her putting on all that makeup, because she looks different enough. You're like, oh, she's actually playing, and she sounds so different too. Like, credit to her acting chops.
And I thought she was American. How cold is that?
Yeah.
I thought she was American. I was like, ooh,
Gotcha.
dang.
Yes, sir.
You to come over here, not just have a generic American accent, but you have a Southern accent, and it's convincing.
And then do it an old Southern accent.
Oh my God, what B-star are you?
Who are you to come over here and just flaunt it in front of me? What have you? What else have you done except for be a whore? Whoa, hey,
Bars. I forgot what I was gonna say. So when I was, I watched it with the wife, and when we saw the old lady, we knew it was like she doesn't move around like an old lady. I was like, this has got to be a actress.
Yeah,
a younger actress.
That much I did. I could tell. I was like, okay,
just on the posture of the
playing.
person, like she got a little bit too much energy for an older person to be that frail, like to be however old this person's supposed to be. I was like, nah, I don't believe it. But I had no idea it was Mia Goth until, of course, they told us. That's the only way.
Yeah. But it's curious how much. I mean, that's what makes me interested to see Pearl, because it's curious how much Pearl looks like Maxine. Like, why do they look just alike?
Yeah.
And what's the connection there? Like, we know who Maxine's father is.
Yeah.
We don't know who her mother is. Or grandmother. I don't know.
Soon.
Yes, indeed. So I also like the other performances by the other actors. Everybody was solid.
I would say Jenny Ortega is a star. It's official.
Yes, she is. She is. And she's playing these roles like so differently. You know, who she plays in Scream is different from who she's playing in this film. There's some similarities between the two, but
and she's like at that age, and she has that look right now where she can play a high school student and play a college student and possibly just a young adult. And so she's kind of like flipped right now, just kind of going in between those worlds in her craft with her work, like with Wednesday, with Scream.
It's all, and also she's small. She's very petite as well. Mm-hmm. So I think all those things play into. But her face, she looks.
Yeah, because there's some people that just like you look like an old teenager. Like you look like an old person trying to play a teenager. I think Christina Ricci kind of has that same vibe where she can kind of play young for a longer period of time.
Agreed.
She also played Wednesday.
Very true.
I was entertained. Like this whole, what I liked about it, just on all fronts. You know what I mean? It's just like they had everything. You had some funny stuff. You had gore. Brief nudity. So just everything mixed into a box of entertainment. You know what I mean?
And again, we've watched enough horror where we know the tropes that kind of come with horror, and this gives you all of those. It gives you the setup. All right, we've got the young, sexy people.
Yeah,
and we know in horror, if you're having sex,
trouble,
you are going to die.
Absolutely.
Like, it's like you almost never make it out.
Yeah.
And it's interesting in this that the one girl who seems like the most innocent, she gets lured in. Yeah. And there's a quote that I'll wait and say later, but there's a quote that's made that kind of rings true.
Yeah.
And it just kind of unfortunately kind of seals the fate. And it actually kind of, like, Lorraine's decision to actually film a scene, to like get involved, is almost like the kind of the antithesis, or not the antithesis, but the starting point of the murders. Because if she doesn't do that, then her boyfriend doesn't break down. RJ doesn't break down like a little punk and then try to,
like a little, I wish I had a little button.
And then try to like leave everybody, only to then be confronted by Pearl, and then murdered. Because if you had stayed in the crib, then they all would have been close by to be able to kind of alert, hey, so if Pearl had snuck in, she would have been caught.
Yeah.
So it would have been interesting to see how things would have unfolded. They would have been able to kind of defend themselves.
Yeah.
But this way, they were able to get picked off one by one.
Also, some of the music cues were I like the music cues.
Yeah.
Those because it was a combination of music cues and score, but the music cues, one specifically, "The Devil Made Me Do It" by Rasputin. That one, I was just like, wow, this is great. How they're just dropping, and then the cue makes sense for the scene.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
And they give you like they kind of have these haunting overtones that hit. Like the first time you hear something a little haunting is when they're first pulling up to the gas station.
Yeah.
And you get that enchanted. I don't know how do I refer to it? Like this called harmonic chanting, and the. But those things hit, and you know it's something foreboding. Like, why does it sound so ethereal? Like, okay, they're like there's something in the air.
You're gonna die.
Exactly, something otherworldly is about to happen to you, and it's just leading you in more and more. Yeah, but yeah, the sound design and the music. Also, I'm like, this soundtrack had to be pretty expensive because they're dropping some tracks that they have here. When they start off with in the summer, like, man, we were kids. My dad used to play that song on like a greatest hit of the 70s.
Yeah. Maybe they got a package deal.
Yeah, it was when I heard that drop, I'm like, oh, they're spending some money. Then at the very end, they've got that doctor, give me the news. I gotta. Yeah, I'm like, okay, they spending some money on some of these cuts, but yes, sir. but still maintain a respectable, reasonable budget.
Absolutely. Special features. Did you check any of the special features out on the film?
I did check them out. And again, while we didn't have commentary, we did have several features that include the X Factor featurette, which they talk about kind of the making of the film. It's about, I think, like 4 minutes. It's pretty short.
It's well produced too. It seems like maybe the director or one of his companies produced it. That's what it feels like. I
wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, when we don't have commentary, I'm like, I'm down for a good. Give me like a 20, 25 minute featurette where you kind of hit up the scenes, like how it was written, how some things were shot. But it sufficed. But it really kind of dove in and showed, Mia and her process of getting the makeup put on. There's even like a time lapse of kind of that happening. So yeah, it was serviceable, and you get to hear more of Ty West's perspective. Of why he chose to do this kind of film, how he felt about the current genre of horror that was a little soft, and felt he has something to contribute to it, and he definitely did with this.
Absolutely.
And then the other feature is it's just what it's called, The Farmer's Daughter,
which is like the porno without the porn.
Exactly. It basically is what they shot like before they like shot the actual porn scene. So it's the lead up to scenes. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So they did that, and that's kind of it for special features.
From a tone standpoint, I felt like the first shot is really, we're inside of like the barn looking at the house, or is that whatever the name of that that building was, looking at the house everybody was basically murdered next to. And the frame looks like it's 4:3. When you're looking at it, it looks like it's in 4:3. So I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna use the old format. And then you discover when the cop car is coming towards us to that house, into the frame, the camera starts pushing forward to reveal that we're inside a building. Like, oh, based on that first shot, I was like, I'm gonna love this movie. I said it off top. I was like, this is a smart filmmaker, to like kind of trick us like that. I was like, yeah, I'm in. I'm down. Count me in. So
thinking about that, because that's also where Wayne's body is at. And you think about the film they were making, they were shooting it like in 4:3.
Yeah.
Like with like 30, I don't know, you could say with 35 millimeter or something like that. But
probably like 8.
Yeah, probably more like 8. You're right. Because they're looking at
that's real small camera.
Yeah, seeing it direct to video anyway.
Yeah.
But they're shooting in like 4:3.
Right.
And so it's interesting like what his kind of perspective is, but he's got his eyes freaking gouged out at the end. But it's interesting that his body's there and that perspective is first shown as the pushes out. But yeah, cinematography wise, they do some interesting things throughout the film.
What kind of style do you think they were going for?
Man, it's a combination of, because they kind of switch ratios at times. They switch to obviously them shooting the film, and so then you get that 4:3 ratio, but then they have times where you're back to widescreen, and 4K quality. There's some nice established wide angle shots. Like there's one in particular. I think when they're all walking to the house where they're going to be staying in, and it's panned way out, and you kind of just see them kind of marching, following Albert to the house, which I thought was cool. But it also establishes a contrast at times, like within the house of Pearl and Albert, and when you see them, they're an older couple, but it seems cooler colors inside there. But then often when you're with the young people, it's literally like the warmer tones, like warm and vibrant. So there's this constant juxtaposition in colors between the ages.
Absolutely. I seen, like, for filmmaking director standpoint, I see like some Tarantino influences. For example, when we're in the van riding to the farm, we see like the feet or the legs of Mia Goth's character Maxine.
True.
Like, oh, let's get some Tarantino.
A little Tarantino vibe.
Yeah. And then also the like the music cues, and kind of how like it's got the hip, cool music, kind of leading us into the next scene.
That's a good point. I wonder if there's like, I got some Eli Roth vibes as well when I think about Cabin in the Woods?
Cabin Fever.
Yes, right. Cabin Fever, which we covered on episode 3, 4.
Man, it was an early episode.
One of our earliest episodes of Filmmaker Commentary. But I kind of got some of those vibes, especially you got people riding along. They stop at a convenience store.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? As they get there, again, this
is a whole genre itself. The young people going to the cabin or the woods or the random.
The isolated place in the, man. But
it definitely reminded me of that, just because of that. Also, Cabin Fever was a lower budget film, between $1 to $5 million, if I remember correctly. That was punching above its weight. It's like, oh man, they really care about the filmmaking. To me, I think that's one of Eli's. To me, that's one of his better films, because he just put so much into it.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I got some of those vibes from X.
When they were doing like the close up, like the first scene with the cops coming in, we're in Texas. It was funny because me and my wife, we were trying to guess we always try to guess what city or state that a movie is happening in. And then I forgot what she said. She said Louisiana. Cause like when it first started out, I was like, nah, I think we're in Texas. And I saw the hats, coming. I said, nah, we're in Texas. And she's like, no, it's Louisiana. And then after that first scene with the sheriff, you cut to the strip club.
Right.
And then it said like something Bayou or something like that.
Right.
And then she said, see, Louisiana. And then it says
the alligator.
And then it says 1979. No, it says Houston, Texas.
Yep.
Then it says 1979 after. I was like, I gotcha.
So again, kind of speaking of the foreshadowing, right? You see that building, that right, it's the burlesque Bayou, I think is the name of the place. But you see the art on the front of the building is an alligator, kind of like the old, I forget what the clothing line is.
Lacoste?
Lacoste. So you have the alligator kind of biting on the girl's bikini and kind of pulling it down. But this is like obviously a grown woman, and she's topless but covering herself, and while the alligator is biting down on her bikini, and it's a blonde.
Yeah.
And then of course we see Bobby. We see what's her name? Bobby Lynn. We see Bobby Lynn, bouncing out of there, and she's blonde. But it's like, oh, when I saw that, I'm like, the second time, I'm like, that's foreshadowing how she's gonna die. She's gonna get got by an alligator.
Tricky, good filmmaking.
I'm like, okay. But another thing that I noticed visually was in the editing, because Ty, he's not only the writer, he's the director, he's also the editor.
Oh, okay.
And so I noticed this.
Getting his Robert Rodriguez on.
Yes, sir. This technique that he does, where he does this kind of this transition, where it does like this 3 count, where it's flashing to an image in the next scene.
Yeah.
So it goes 1, 2, 3, bam, and then you're finally like switched over, and that technique is interesting. It's almost like something subliminal.
Yeah.
Like when we watch like the Exorcist, and you see something real quick, like they put in the frame, but it's not quite as
Fight
quick.
Club, like Tyler Durden when they was flashing the Psycho.
Exactly, but this does that as it gets ready to transition you into the next scene. I thought that was a interesting technique in editing.
Agreed. That first scene, going back to that, when all the cops are coming in, discovering the corpses and all that stuff, it reminds me of Robert Rodriguez's film. Which was written by Quentin Tarantino, From Dusk Till Dawn. It was written by Quentin Tarantino, From Dusk Till Dawn. When we get the sheriffs and, yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff going on. And he's in the convenience store, and then he just gets shot later, right, in the store. But the opening scene, that's what it reminds me of. You know, the Gecko brothers coming in and shoot the cops, blow up the building, and going about their life.
It's been a minute since I've seen
Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn. So, correction on the editors. Ty West is one of the editors. The other is David Kazaroff. Kazaroff. There we go.
Also,
Kazavarov. Sorry, a lot of letters in there. Kazavarov. And Kid Cudi is also one of the producers on this. The executive producer, actually, on
Cut the Check.
Yes, sir.
Also, last on my style is just whenever a character they're reacting to something, but you don't see it, it kind of builds suspense. So when the sheriff, when they go down into the basement of the building and they see something, and then he's like, God dang it! Oh, I forgot what he said. But we don't get to see. They're horrified, but we don't get to see it.
Yeah, that was smart.
Yeah, until later they let us know what they saw.
Yeah, because that gets you're like, okay, what did they see? And now you know something. And then all of a sudden, bam, we flash back to 24 hours earlier.
Yep. And and then we're in a strip club. Which lets me to themes. What kind of themes did you get? And I had like a couple of them. I had a few of them.
Go ahead, kick it off.
One of the big themes is religion. We kind of started out with this pastor that's just kind of talking this religious rhetoric over and over again. Is being played on television.
Televangelist.
It's on the radio. It's on the TV. It's
everywhere.
It's like in the minds of people as we're going into this town. As we're in this town. So we see that pastor. We also see crosses. So like the Ortega's character was Lorraine. What was her name?
Lorraine. Loretta.
Loretta. Before she has sex
maybe it is Lorraine.
Before she starts to have sex on...
Yeah, Lorraine.
It was Lorraine. Before she starts to have sex on camera, she takes off her cross. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh.
And you notice the back of her panties said Sunday on them.
Oh, hello.
I was like, whoa, where do you get panties like that? Anyway, that's just whatever.
And then at the end of the film, when Maxine is driving off and she took the truck of pearls, there's a cross like kind of dangling to the right of the frame as she's driving off. And she was like, divine intervention, So religion is just an overarching theme in here.
Yeah, and it often, like with this televangelist, he often is saying things that directly correlate with things that Mia is doing, especially leading up to the last couple of moments when Albert turns the TV on initially to drown out Lorraine's screams. Mm-hmm. Then the pastor's message is almost like it's like this commentary of kind of the events that are happening. And that's super fascinating towards the end. And then the fact that reveal comes all those 24 hours later, while the television is still on, and then him revealing that Maxine is his daughter. And that she was taken away by these people, and
she was lured in by the very sin.
But also the line that they both echo, that I refuse to accept a life that's not. I've gotten the quotes. I'll quote it later, but it's interesting, very interesting.
I have another theme of running out of time. So it's like
I like that.
Oh, thank you. It's just like, it's like it's running down. This time is running down. You see that really through the older characters on that. And then also the misuse of youth. You know what I mean? Because the characters there, the older characters are kind of saying, you hear it in like what they're saying. It's like, what gives you the right? Or you kind of see that, okay, being young, that doesn't last forever. So how are you going to spend your youth? You know what I mean? And they're in a way misusing it because this is how they're spending, their energy, their youth in, dirty films.
Smut.
Smut. You know, that's how they're spending. That's how they're choosing. And even in their conversations while they talk, it's like, you know, one day you're not going to be able to have sex anymore, so you might as well, you know, kind of basically just live. Was it live? You only live once.
YOLO.
Yeah, you only live once, so why not just do it all?
Yeah. Your themes?
That's it. I only had 3 of those.
Okay, I got a couple here. So I've one of penetration.
Okay.
And so obviously it's in the literal sense because these people are making they're making a porno.
Yep.
But then towards the end, I feel like Pearl is penetrating like all these people. Like she's penetrating their dreams, their lives by like ending them. Literally with Wayne, his eyes and head gets penetrated by a pitchfork.
Ouch.
Wayne, no, well that was Wayne. Jackson, he gets penetrated by a shotgun to the chest. Yeah, so I felt like penetration was a theme, and again, even with Lorraine herself, you know, she initially kind of resists she's kind of timid and kind of resisting, but then eventually she gets penetrated by Jackson
on film,
and that then sends JR on a
RJ.
Yeah, RJ. There we go. Yeah, RJ on a way to get out. That he gets penetrated with a knife to the throat, and then again and again, as she stabs the mess out of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets bad. So yeah, penetration is happening. Oh, and then of course, part of the big issue is that Albert's so old, he has a heart issue.
Yeah,
he can no longer penetrate. Pearl. But then once the murder starts happening, all of a sudden he's able to
get it up.
Yeah, and ends up penetrating her on the bed while Maxine is trapped underneath. Yeah.
Arguably one of the grossest scenes in the film.
Yeah, when I rewatched the film, I was like, skip that. I don't need to see that again. I know. I just need to see Maxine running out of the room. Yeah, good job. Let's keep it moving. Nothing to say here
at all.
Another theme I had, again, similar to you, I had just young versus old.
Yeah.
That juxtaposition, because there is a literal tension from these older people. Like they don't like that these people are young and quote unquote flaunting this and that. Like they're bitter about it. Like, man, like you had your time. Like it's everybody, but they're like cutting these people's lives. They're cutting lives short, like you said, out of time. Another thing I had was lust. And not just the physical lust, but it's this lust for life, this lust for success that both Maxine and Pearl both share.
Right.
Where they felt they should be like famous. Like I want my name everywhere in lights. And I'm sure once we watch Pearl, we'll see even more of her aspirations and who she was trying to become. But whatever happened where she didn't quite get there, she's bitter about it. But there is this lust, Wayne's lust to, be wealthy and so on. Like he's got this passion for it. And then there's like the actual physical sense of lust that kind of spreads and overtakes, and eventually, again, I mentioned before, it overtakes Lorraine as well.
Yeah.
But even with Pearl, like her, I don't know, like why she is, maybe she's bisexual, or I guess she's clearly bisexual, or she just so infatuated with Maxine's look because she looked just like her when she was young. Is she trying to like steal her youth somehow?
Succubus.
Yeah, exactly. Is she trying to? I don't know. That's real fascinating to me. It makes me again want to see Pearl even more. Again, a theme of jealousy, and also I had another theme of the grass is always greener on the other side.
True.
So sometimes when you're younger, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to be a little older to have this, to establish myself, blah blah blah, and then at times, maybe when you're older, you're like, oh, I long for the days of my youth when yada yada and things were carefree. So there's always that kind of juxtaposition going on.
Absolutely. Well done. Also, like I got a point, kind of like the director point of view. One of the things he was talking about was just like he talks about how typecasting is bullcrap.
Yeah.
So it's like when someone is like playing against type is when someone's typecast, like, okay, like, for example, the Willem Dafoe, we only see him as a villain and things like that. So he's typecast as that. But no, he just hasn't been given the opportunity to play somebody like in Florida Project. I forgot the name. Was it Bobby? Was he playing Bobby? I don't know if that was his name in Florida Project, but given the opportunity to play a character he's normally not known for, that he's not known for. And so just kind of giving the opportunities to the actors that he knows can play that, because I mean they're professionals, they know how to get into character, so providing that opportunity. So I found it refreshing for him to have that viewpoint to allow actors to go into those certain roles. And he was specifically talking about is it Brittany Snow or Brit? Yeah,
yes sir, Brittany Snow playing the role of Bobby. Good Lord, what's her name? I don't know why. Bobby Lynn. Yeah, and she did a heck of a job on that. She did. I didn't recognize it was her. Like I like it when she's redhead. Like I think she's gorgeous as a redhead, but she's still gorgeous as a blonde too. But I'm used to seeing her as a redhead. I remember seeing her in Pitch Perfect. Oh, yeah, and she's redhead in that. Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, okay,
my Lynn. Business stuff. One thing I just like, the marketing of A24 is like second to none. Yeah. It's like the key art sold me on this movie. The key art, and then number 2, the trailer. The key art, I was like, man, what movie is this? I kept seeing it. I was like, okay. Saw the trailer. I'm like, ooh, well done. And then once their movie is out, they do a good job getting coverage. They make sure they're in all the best magazines. They're on the best podcasts. They're on the festival circuit. They make sure they make the rounds and they get the most out of the publicity and the free press. They have a secret strategy. Like, it's solid.
It definitely is solid. It definitely is solid. It works. Like I said, I mean, though I didn't know about the film so much, again, once I told my buddy we were covering this, he was like, yeah, I wanted to see that. I kept seeing it. Again, the trailer constantly in the theaters. I'm like, okay. Well, again, while I didn't know about X, I did know about Pearl. So they didn't get me on one, they got me on the other initially, yeah. But then that then ties right back into the other. So I'm like, I guess it's a double play.
Welcome into the world. Do you have any favorite scenes or memorable scenes?
Well, yes, I do, sir.
So trade back and forth.
The first one that was memorable for me, that first kind of really built some tension, was when Maxine first jumps into the lake or the pond that's next to the property, and you see this alligator just slowly kind of just cruising along.
Yeah.
And then as she decides to come back to the dock, we get this top down shot, and we see that alligator moving closer and closer, and she's just
oblivious.
Yeah, swim to the water. I'm naked in the water. And the gator's getting closer and closer, and then she finally gets to the dock, a little hesitation, and then finally gets out. Then, and that gator just goes about its business. But it's like, it's that tension. Like,
yeah, it's visual tension. Like for us, we're on edge, but she has no clue.
No clue, straight oblivious. But the music's doing this thing. But yeah, that was the first memorable scene. Like, oh boy.
What's gonna happen? For me, one of the memorable scenes is the axe to the hand with Jenna Ortega. So basically, she is locked in the basement. She knocks a part of the door out, but to unlock the lock from the other side, and so she reaches around to unlock it. And you always feel this in like some horror films. It's like, okay, risk putting your hand out to unlock something. Like, what if somebody comes in and stabs with a knife or whatever? And this is like a trope, seeing someone like knock out something and then unlock the door. But I've never seen somebody trying to unlock it and then an axe gets hit in their hand. And
that was a handle. That was the butt of the shotgun that he had killed Jackson with.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought it was an axe.
He's using the butt of the rifle
and
just
I don't know why I thought it was an axe, but man, you could see the damage to her fingers as it's doing. Like her fingers are like twisted.
One of those knuckles is straight broke.
Yeah, busted. The bone is coming out of it. I'm like, oh man.
And her just screams of pain and terror. Like, oh, this poor child.
Yeah,
because now she's almost reverted to a childlike state. She's straight traumatized.
Yeah,
but her hand is jagged. Her I feel like it's effective.
Yeah,
very effective.
Yeah, man, that one was memorable.
Oh man. The other one, okay. Another memorable scene was when Pearl unrobed. She's gone into the. She's already killed a couple people.
She killed RJ.
Yeah, RJ's already dead. Then she actually already killed Wayne
Howard
as well.
Too? Oh, okay.
And now she's made her way into the bedroom where Maxine lays asleep, and she proceeds to disrobe. Yuck.
I need a sound effect or something. Yuck.
The opposite of ooh-wee. And she proceeds to unrobe and then get in the bed. Well, she pulls the covers back to look at Maxine's body, and then proceeds to then get in the bed with her and slowly runs her old hand over
a bloody old hand.
Yeah, like
Disgusting.
got Wayne's blood, or maybe RJ's blood on as well. And she's now rubbing it on Maxine, who's apparently a very heavy sleeper.
Yeah,
she's had a long day of
sex.
Yeah, and I was gonna say escaping gators and getting powder anyway. But it's been a long day, road trip, cocaine,
pun intended.
She's done it all today, so she's earned her rest.
She did,
but yeah. So and she's just there with her, and it's awkward. It's like, what's going on? Like, why is she so touchy with her? Like, and I don't know. It's weird. I get she's not getting it from Albert, but yeah, Pearl. Yeah, disturbing.
Another scene, a memorable scene, is when Lorraine, right? It's Lorraine, is supposed to be like the goody two shoes, the prude, but she's in a relationship with RJ, and we discover with all the people that we're hanging out with that these other people are in relationships too, but they don't have any problem with their significant other sleeping with another person as long as it's on camera. It's okay if it's on camera because then it's not real. And so she's like, oh, okay. Since her boyfriend brought her into this world, now she's kind of being exposed to this. She's like, hey, it's okay to do this then. You brought me here. And he even told her, like, why are you being such a prude? And so now she kind of flipped it
back. I know you were such a prude.
So now he has to try to figure out or persuade her why this is not a good idea for their relationship. But you're not going to be able to convince the situation because you've already said it was okay. And
his perspective, it switches. When it becomes personal, it switches so much because even Wayne takes him outside and they're talking and he's trying to, calm him down. Look, the more you push back on her, the more she's just going to do what she wants to do. And, but also you could see the walls coming down when they're first filming, Jackson and Bobby Lynn going at it and he's laying the pipe on her. you see Lorraine's expression.
Great actress. You can see everything through her face. She's like, she's like enchanted. She's like, she's been turned on.
Yeah,
turned on and out.
Yep. And so now she's ready to get down.
She's like, my turn.
Yeah.
So it was just funny kind of seeing her square boyfriend like kind of break down and like, because if she's willing to do this, she's not who we think she is. She's already got something going on in her past. So it's like for her just to kind of jump to this in that way is like,
but it's also one of those things there. Sometimes you get people away from their normal comfort zones. You get them isolated in this one place and they're like willing to sometimes try something different. And she's there filming it, just catch the vibe. And I don't know. So yeah, she was, I don't know. Again, she was willing to acquiesce.
I think the overall scene is just funny because we all, I don't know if we've all had these conversations, but just in general, just like what porn means in our society because everybody's watched it. And so what do you feel about that?
Right.
Or would you be involved? Would you get, would you be in one of these,
And you got to consider like this is 1979 and Wayne's whole thing is that this is going to be something that will go to like direct market and on VHS. And so probably Lorraine's thinking, this is not the age of the internet, by any means. So she's thinking, who's going to, like, what are the chances somebody see me on this? What are the chances being distributed enough where somebody that knows me or somebody within my circle would know or recognize me on a video? She's probably thinking that, she's pretty safe to get away with this. Or who knows if her face even shows.
Yeah,
based upon the angle that they were initially shooting her at. I don't know. We don't know what all.
But there were actual stars, during that time. The people in the porn industry were becoming stars.
That's true.
I think one of the more popular porn knows of that time, I can't remember the exact year, but it's a movie called Deep Throat. That movie was being distributed. It was like in the theaters, but it destroyed lives because some of the people involved in that film, like their reputations were ruined because of the double standard. And so people were just like, like, this is what you're good. You're a whore. That's who you are,
And on the other end, some people like filmmakers, like it was kind of how they got their start of, of being able to get somewhere and shoot something.
Yep.
Get experience, then move on. But then you had like films like one of the by almost just by name alone, Debbie Does Dallas.
Yeah.
Like that is, just I don't know. It's a name that's just known.
It's a well known popular porn from the time.
Yeah. But that's the one reason why Ty West chose this time period to make this film in, because if it were set in modern times, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't need the same necessities of having to get away, being in an isolated place to shoot this film.
It'll be a different
at the
film
time
for sure.
Yeah,
you can do the same thing, but it'll be different. The setup will be different.
But also it gets rid of some of the technology that gives the convenience of being able to call for help or whatever. It's like, nope, they're totally isolated. You can bring in those horror elements and pick them off.
Horror, because you always got to address the cell phone these days.
True. What other scenes you got?
What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to add to that what you're saying with the filmmaking thing, because remember when we did Reanimator? Mm-hmm. The director of that film, he used to say like that was his start, was in porn pictures, because you got access to the equipment. And same thing with the Melvin Peoples Sweet Back, that movie.
Right.
They had brought people from the porn industry to shoot their film because they had access to equipment. Mm-hmm. And so those,
that's true. That's true.
And the people that were in that industry wanted to cross over into like the more square movies.
Right.
And the people that were doing like with the Sweetback, what he was doing, he's like, hey, we need the equipment. So, hey, we'll use people from the porn industry. They already know how to use the equipment. So, yeah, filmmaking. Do I have another one? Dude, the alligator bite to the head.
Yo.
In that scene that she's, Bobby Lynn is being confronted by Pearl at the lake and
on the dock
just gets pushed into the water. And then as soon as her head pops up, an alligator and we see the bite to the head. Oh man, it was great.
That gator had been waiting all movie.
I'm hungry.
Like, I'm so close. No, not yet. Okay, black guy's coming. Maybe. No, not yet. All right. This one, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And just, did there's a splash run. It's well done because we only see a little bit, but it's like, I don't know, it's effective. Very effective. Mm-hmm. When you see the blood rise up in the water, you're like, oh, she did.
She's a goner.
So one of my other memorable scenes was Lorraine getting popped dead. Like she finally gets freed by Maxine out of the cellar. And now she's full on hysterical. She's acting like a child. This is your fault. You brought me here. I hate you all. I hate you all. And Maxine's like, hey, we've got to find the keys to the trucks. We can get out of here. But Lorraine's she's just hysterical, and she's storming out of the place. And we see like the shot from the perspective of the hallway, and we watch Lorraine storming out. She gets to the door. She's out the door, and all of a sudden, pow!
Man,
blown away.
Shotgun blast to the face. Literally knocks her off her feet. Like her feet are in the air.
Hurdle light frame. Yeah, she's like done.
Yeah, it was like a football tackle.
Oh man, like you're finished, chica. Finished, finito. Yeah.
And one of the favorite, what also makes that scene memorable was that, old man, what's the old man's name? Albert. He's like, we got to bring her in. She's heavier than, she looks.
We got to bring her inside because that's, extended self-defense. That's the law.
Idiot. And so he brings her in. And then Lorraine has one last gasp for air before she dies.
And you see, we get a close-up of her face.
Oh, she's done.
Man.
Looks like spaghetti.
Even if she was alive,
she wouldn't want to be alive.
Yo, baby girl. Yeah. It's like, her face looks like Hamburger Helper. It's bad.
She's done for.
It's bad, and just the brain damage. Like it's
a lot of work.
Yeah. It's in 1979. I don't know.
Yeah, she got to wear a mask.
Oof.
Yeah. So she does a little gasp for breath. Like, and then Albert,
like a gurgle.
Yeah, it's a gurgle. And then Albert, he's been talking about his heart the whole movie. That's his reason for not having sex.
Oh man.
So he's done had sex. He's doing right, and then he gets jolted by the most. He gets jolted by the gasp of air from Lorraine. He gets his heart attack.
Like low key, it's kind of funny because he's just taking out poor Lorraine. You know, he's strutting around because he finally was able to give it to Pearl again.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then the strain of moving that body, and then when she gets like he falls back against the wall and instant heart attack. Yeah, and Pearl's like, Albert, he is gone.
Yeah,
it's like
instant.
It feels like just desserts. Like, okay, like these people are killers. Like, they're murderers.
Yes,
you know. So it's like, good. Like, I'm glad you're dead, Albert. But it's funny the way it happens.
Yes.
But it's almost like, you know, it's almost like Lorraine gets revenge.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
it's like instant karma, basically.
Because he busted up her knuckles, something that, and blew her face off.
Man.
So the gasp of death from Lorraine. So she got a little unknowing revenge back. But yeah, that's kudos to Ty West for writing that, because you don't typically see that.
Yeah, the instant karma.
Yeah, and just from a gasp, like what it takes to like just set off like his heart. But again, all that groundwork was laid, so it's credible. Like,
I've seen the gasp for like the gurgle before. That was another Tarantino film. Remember Kill Bill?
Oh yeah.
So when they come into the chapel and then they see all people that are dead in the chapel, black and white, and then we get to Uma Thurman's character,
right?
And then she looks dead, and then it's like, oh, she's alive. He's like, oh, we got one still alive in Texas again.
Once again, shout out. But yeah, and then I had both those scenes again. Lorraine being just I put popped dead. And then of course Albert dies from being literally scared to death.
And then another continuation with that scene is when Pearl, she picks up the shotgun because we discovered that, what's name tries to shoot, doesn't have any bullets in it. So Pearl grabs the shotgun.
Question for you real quick.
Yeah.
Did Pearl, okay, was the pistol empty the whole time? Or did Pearl empty the bullets from the pistol and place it back in the glove compartment?
It was already empty because Albert told, what's his name? Wayne, that, it's not loaded anyway. I just wave it around.
No, I'm talking about but that pistol from the glove compartment of the van, was that pistol already empty?
Yeah.
Or it
was already empty. Because when Albert tells that guy, my shotgun it's empty.
Right, but I'm talking about the pistol though.
Yeah.
That's not the shotgun, but the pistol.
I didn't get to finish the sentence.
Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So when he tells him, like, it's not even loaded. The shotgun's not even loaded. And then Howard, that's his name, right? The guy that got stabbed in the eyes with a pitchfork.
Wayne.
Why do I want to say Howard?
I don't know.
What am I talking about? So Wayne says, yeah, I have one like that in the car too. And saying that he waves it around too and it's not loaded.
See, I didn't catch that.
Yeah. He said, yeah, I have one in the car like that. But because basically the old man says, I just wave it around. It's not even loaded.
Which was a lie.
Yeah. But he was lying. The other guy was telling the truth.
Wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, good catch. I didn't catch that. Because sure enough, obviously, Maxine knew where it was, because we see her literally, again, all this foreshadowing, right? We see her literally open the glove compartment, like she's ready to grab it just in case. But
yeah, and that was smart, because it would be like, oh, how convenient is that the gun is there? It's like,
okay,
they showed it to us.
So all right, so it wasn't loaded the whole time. She aims it at Pearl. Pearl picks up that raises the shotgun.
Yes. She shoots it and it just...
And Maxine ducks. She ducks. She hits the ground. Smart.
Yeah.
But we watch Pearl.
Man, it's got that kick.
The kick from the shotgun launches her backwards through the door. And you see a leg cross over or whatever.
Man, she lands hard. That brittle body of hers, man.
She breaks her hip. Yeah. And here's the thing. Once again, foreshadowing. Albert earlier, when he's talking to Jackson about finding out, he goes, my wife's old, she roams on, oh, it's dark, I don't want no. He says that to Lorraine when he asked her to go down to the basement. Please, if you go down and get the other light, I don't want my wife it's dark outside, I don't want her to fall and break her hip.
Dang.
And literally, she used that shotgun. She gets launched back, and she literally breaks her hip. She even says, like, either my leg or my hip.
No, she said my hip.
My hip.
I was like, that's very specific.
She literally breaks it. A lot of foreshadowing in this film that pays off, man.
Oh, Today at work, on my way leaving the service today, a lady fell down.
No.
Yeah.
Like bad?
Older, yeah.
Oh,
older.
no.
She fell down. She was all right, but I think she might have broke her arm or something like that. But she was like laying down hurt. And I was like, oh man. I was thinking about just getting older. It's like, man, you got to be careful when you get older. Like those falls don't feel the same. You know what I mean?
No.
Like when you fall down, something is broken. And that was official. That happened today. I was like, oh man, today's been a long day. I had to go. It's funny because I was it's primarily. Anyhow, I was going to my car. And this lady was like looking like, thank God, like when she saw me, it's like, you're the security, right? I was like, no, I'm just going to my car.
So did you help her? Like what
there was already a crowd of people around this lady, and so I was like, no, I work here, but I'll get somebody for you. And so I was able to get security, and they got some paramedics.
Good for you, Reginald.
But it was just funny. I was like, I'm going to my car, I have nice security, you should know better, lady.
Oh man. But yeah, so Pearl kickback shotgun, launched to the door. She flies. It's like this shotgun is powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And the stunts are great.
Yeah.
These are some great stunts. Oh man. I wish there was commentary to kind of talk about that.
Yeah. Or a little more behind the scenes to show like the makeup on Lorraine's blown off face.
Yeah. That would have been fantastic.
So then that leads to, again, another memorable scene. Now towards the very, the end of the film, Pearl's there on the ground, and Maxine walks on by, has the keys, walks on by, gets in the truck, and Pearl is there and talking trash. And she's slowly like crawling like with that arm. And
she's a gangster.
And we all know what's gonna happen because she's crawling right into the pathway of the tires. You're like, oh no. And she's, talking noise, and all of a sudden Maxine, she gets in the truck, starts it up, begins to drive off, but then just Pearl says one more thing, and all of a sudden, boom, truck stops. Gets put in reverse, backs up, and Pearl's like, no! And we see the head explode as Maxine runs over Pearl's head.
That's so
takes
gross.
her out, and she's like, I think she said something like, you'll never be anybody.
You're not special.
Yeah, and then Maxine says, that'll be our little secret.
Divine effing intervention.
And drives off. It's satisfying. I'm like, whoa. Because you always want somebody to get out alive. And there's always somebody typically that gets out alive in the slashers films.
Yeah.
And then showing off Maxine. She's got that X factor.
That's also another callback to Tarantino. Like, there's not often you hear the term divine intervention, but Pulp Fiction. Divine intervention.
Good call. Really good call. Then last the memorable scene I'll say is, again, now we get called back to the present. Yeah. And all the cops in the house looking at the dead bodies. And now we see the evangelist once again still on the TV. The TV still playing from when Albert turned it on the night before. Same televangelist, like just doing his thing still. Like he's on 24/7.
Yeah.
And he makes the reveal, that our own daughter, our precious Maxine. And he like put the picture up, and it's literally a picture of a younger version of Maxine.
Yeah.
And that's his daughter, like who survived this whole thing. That was a trip. I was like, what? This PK out here in the streets like this?
Yeah, out in the street.
But yeah, man, that was a cool reveal. But it makes you wonder, okay, what's Maxine gonna do next? Has she seen enough? Is she going to return back home and like, Ma, Pa, I know I messed up.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to be alive.
Yeah.
Or is this gonna send her further off into more depravity? Is she like
more debauchery,
just straight up jacked up in the head now because of seeing all that? I mean, she takes another bump of cocaine and she's on the road to somewhere.
Hot damn.
Man, like, I don't know. Like I'm like, man, where's Maxine gonna end up?
Where are you gonna take us? What tropes? I got like a few of them.
Shoot, kick it off.
The like you talk about this, but like the foreshadowing of like danger to come. I like the where the truck, where we see like the at the beginning of the film, where the whole crew, the young people that are going to be shooting this porno, they're entering into this new town. Before they enter it, we see a cow has been struck by a truck. There's blood, carcass everywhere, and then their truck has to literally pass through the blood in order to get to their destination. And it's like almost like a passageway to their demise.
And literally, Maxine sees it. She turns away and says, and she almost gags. And she says, "Oh, I hate blood and guts."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, you ain't seen nothing yet.
You haven't.
Like you are in for it, my dear. I had the trope of you start at the end of the film and then flash back to 24 hours earlier.
Yep. How many times have we seen people being separated? You get the separated people looking for the missing person. Class. And they're searching for this person, but they're searching for this person by themselves.
At night.
Yeah.
Not wearing much.
And like, yeah, the most vulnerable they can be.
100%.
Dudes in briefs, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
With no shoes on.
I'm like, what are you doing, Wayne?
Yeah.
I bet, I don't know. Some of these folks are country.
Yeah.
The creepy farm.
Yeah. Absolutely. How many times have we seen somebody about to shoot the gun? No bullets.
Oh, that's a good one. I have, the young, sexy people die gruesome deaths.
I mean, that's a classic horror trope.
That is tied in with horror every time, especially in slasher films.
Yeah. That's all I have for tropes.
I got a few more. Another one is skinny dipping. In a horror film. We see.
Was she bathing or skin? Yeah, it was just a random skinny
you
dip.
get naked in the water.
Doesn't matter.
It's not a bathroom.
Yeah, it's a skinny dip.
It's a skinny dip. Again, creepy old people in horror movies.
Dude, they made them super creepy.
Yeah. When you first see Albert,
yeah,
you're like, oh, dude, what is going on with you, buddy?
Mm-hmm.
Then we have, I put like kind of the Friday the 13th, where again, kind of what you mentioned, like the separating people getting slashed one by one.
Yeah.
Again, I have the gas station stop, which I mentioned earlier, but that's not only Cabin Fever, but it's another film.
That's a lot. Yeah. Going, especially the town you don't know. And then those people are kind of off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and the last one I have is hiding under the bed, which we see.
That's a lot of space under that bed.
Yeah, it really is. Like most beds aren't that.
They're literally having sex and there's still room. She's like,
there's still like, and then it's even like a little divot in the bed from their weight on the mattresses, but still, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen a bed like that.
70s.
Quotes. Speaking of the old man Albert, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we first see him and he's about to shoot old buddy
Wayne.
We see Jackson's character looking at him. He's like, man, that's an ugly son of a bitch.
Right. And so speaking of that same scene, Albert, after he's met Wayne and remembered him and is going to show them where they're going to stay, says, I don't think I like you, Wayne. Just very straightforward.
Straight to the point. As they're at the gas station and I keep forgetting the other name. Wayne. I probably won't remember it.
It's all right. I got you.
Howard is seared in my brain for whatever reason. Wayne. He's buying groceries for everybody, and he gets into a Bobby Lynn, and Bobby Lynn is basically saying, she said she wants a cigarette. She said, hey, if I'm going to be having sex for you, I'm going to need cigarettes. And while we're listening to this, me and my wife watched this. She's like, that's the least he can do. When she puts it that way, like, that's the least you can do.
Yeah, because we don't hear anything about like compensation of people getting paid or anything like that. So this is Bobby Lynn, who says again, after it's at night, they've already shot their daytime scenes, and they're kind of sitting around talking about sex. And Bobby Lynn says, the fact is, we turn people on.
Yeah.
It's very matter of fact, and it's very true, because then of course we get, until Lorraine kind of, dive into the conversation and we know what happens next.
When Wayne brings RJ outside to kind of talk about the Lorraine situation. RJ is just so flustered. He's like saying things, he's probably going to regret. And he was just like, she's not like them. Or like, he's like, pardon me. Wayne's like, pardon me. What you talking about? It's my wife at the end of the day. Right. And then he said, well, she's a nice girl. Lorraine's a nice girl. And he said, hey, partner, hate to be the one to tell you this, but ain't none of them girls nice.
Yeah.
Woo.
And then maybe leading into that, Wayne also says, this is another of my quotes. He says, you ain't been 43, but I've been 23.
Yeah.
You ought to listen to me.
Yeah.
And just the way he phrased that, I just thought was funny.
Mm-hmm. It's funny when the sheriff is black, and so when his other deputies are kind of asking him questions, he's like, "Sheriff, what do you think happened here?" He was like, "How the hell you think I should know?"
Yeah. How the hell should I know? This stuff don't happen every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a real answer.
Yeah. So I've got, this is once again Albert. Again, I alluded to this earlier when he says it's very dark, and I'm worried my wife could fall and break her hip.
Yeah,
so specific.
That is specific. That's all I have.
I got a couple more. So this is when Albert he's searching for his wife, and Wayne. Oh, Jackson is already kind of woken up. Thought he heard something. Goes to the fridge, drinks some milk, and then he sees a flashlight kind of shining through the windows, and he opens the door and he starts talking to Albert. And Albert says he's looking for his wife, and then Jackson says, a lot of firepower there for a missing wife. Just making the observation, he sees that shotgun.
Yeah.
Once again, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like he notices the gun. That's exactly what's going to end him.
Man. Any more quotes?
Yeah, a few more. So Pearl says, after she pushes Bobby Lynn into the water, and Albert asks her, was that the one? And Pearl just says, I don't like blondes.
Like, ooh.
Whoa, history.
Yep. Maybe we'll get that in the next film.
I'm sure we will. Once again, this is Pearl in my least favorite scene in the film. When it's her and Albert are starting to go at it, and she's literally saying, F me, Albert. F me. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable. But she's F me, Albert. F me. Wow. Okay. This is a quote from both Maxine and the preacher, the televangelist. And they both say this in tandem towards the end. I will not accept a life I don't deserve. It's like, oh. Wow, okay. And initially when that happens, I don't think anything of it. Like, that's interesting that they both
She keeps saying it like in the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, that's literally her teaching from her dad.
Yeah, program.
Like, wow.
Unbelievable.
And of course, again, towards the end, you mentioned it. Now that's what I call divine intervention. And yeah, that's all I had for quotes.
Do you have any questions for our director?
I do have one question, and this actually might be geared towards more like the characters. So, yeah, this is actually about the characters. What were they going to do to Lorraine after locking her in the basement, and what had they done to the guy who was chained up there, and why were they doing it?
Yeah,
that's what I'm not quite clear on. I see the guy that obviously was killed, kind of mutilated. His pants were down.
Yeah,
maybe they mutilated his junk or whatever. But like, what's the point of that? Are they just taking revenge out? And why was the other ones they just kind of killed in cold blood around the property? But that guy had the unfortune of being taken down in the basement, chained up there, like starved. I don't know, but I mean, Albert made reference to him. He said you were like the other. What do you call them? He used the term bohemian. Yeah, you're like the other bohemian who's out here barely wearing any clothes and flaunting it. So I don't know. Were they just torturing that guy? And what were they going to do to poor like Lorraine? Was she going to be chained up and tortured? I don't know. But that's the question I have. What were they doing to him? What were they going to do to her?
Rough.
Yeah. Maybe it's almost better that she died.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yikes.
Head blown off. Damn. Dead gum.
Trivia.
I guess no questions for you.
No, I don't have any questions.
Gotcha.
I just have one.
Shoot.
This is part of a trilogy.
A trilogy?
Yes.
I knew there were two. So, what's the next one?
It's called Maxine.
Oh,
with
yeah.
3 X's in it, like Max 3X.
Oh, okay.
And it's 5 years after these events happened.
Holy smokes. I think
so we're in the 80s.
I saw that appear somewhere and I was like, why are they misspelling her name? I was doing some research today. Is that trailer out already?
Yeah. So it's like a teaser trailer. Dang. And so it's like the Hollywood sign, but it's Maxine.
Holy smokes.
So the style of the Hollywood sign says Maxine and it has like the triple X.
This is kind of genius.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had sequels and prequels, but in this succession, like this quick, that's kind of dope.
It is.
I'm like, okay, I'm even more excited to see Pearl and then now to see Maxine. Yo, okay, let's go. Okay, sorry.
We're gonna have some 80s music, some poofy hair.
Dude, what is going on? All right, cool. So, my trivia, again, Ty he felt that horror movies were getting soft. And that's one reason why he wanted to make this kind of film. Because he actually said that he wouldn't make a slasher film. He'd never make a slasher film. But he felt it was time. And he wanted to make sure that it was like for the cinema.
Yeah.
He actually had come off doing a TV show, a television show or series called Tales from the Loop.
Okay. I've never seen it.
Neither have I, but I'm now, after seeing these, I'm interested in checking out some more of Ty's work.
Yes.
Also, you already mentioned the typecasting being his BS. Here's a bit of trivia. So Mia, she enjoyed her time getting up at 3 a.m. in the morning and sitting in the makeup chair for 8 hours to be made into Pearl.
Ooh, that's rough. I do have one. This was shot in Sweden.
Really?
Yeah.
That I did not know.
Because was it Sweden or Switzerland? It's an S in it. But mainly because this was during the pandemic. So when this A24 greenlit
New Zealand.
I was totally off.
You had a zzz.
Yeah, it did. New Zealand. Sorry about that. Thanks for checking that.
No worries.
I would have totally lied. Just lied to everybody.
People in New Zealand are, no!
These are lies.
All lies!
But it was one of the places that was open for them to actually shoot something like this. I mean, everybody's touching and kissing and humping and stuff like that.
Killing?
Yeah. So it's like during COVID, in the height of COVID. Yeah. So, wow. But he, while X was greenlit already, in the middle of production, A24 went on and greenlit Pearl because he was Ty West was just talking to me is like, hey, if we want to to kind of take advantage of the situation,
sure,
we have this extra time. I'm quarantined. I might as well write this another script.
We got the same place and space, same farm.
Would you be down to do a prequel? A24 greenlit it in the middle of production of X.
Amazing.
So they're able to do that.
Man, I'm ready. I'm ready to see Pearl.
Yes,
and I'm ready to see Maxine.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's all I had for trivia.
Now it's time for filmmaker tips. What you got?
The more you do horror, the better you get at it. So Ty West made reference to this during an interview with Perry Nemiroff of Collider, where he talked about he had done a couple of other horror films previously, one of which is called, I'll just say Tales from the Loop is one. I don't know if that's horror or not. If that's like I don't know what that is. But he'd done 2 other horror films. I don't know their names. But he just said the more that you do horror, the better you get at it. That's why he felt he was at his sharpest right now, that he'd never be sharper. And so now is the time to do these films.
Wow, I like it. My only tip was kind of alluding to how the trilogy was, formed, or at least a prequel. Just taking advantage of your opportunity. So when you see an opportunity, with his experience, he kind of saw the opportunity in COVID, was in the perfect position. We didn't know how long it's going to last. I know during COVID, we took advantage of certain positions that we were in. It's just like, okay, what are you going to do with this extra time that you have, these extra year, 2 years, or whatever. And take advantage of opportunity and produce more.
There you go. Also, another tip is making a movie of people making a movie is a way to challenge yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
And then lastly, if you have someone who's going to be sitting in makeup for long periods of time like Mia was, it can literally change you, and lend to your transformation into that character. And he mentioned with Mia, he said she has a kind of a wild energy about her, where he said it's not that she was so method when she became Pearl that you couldn't talk to Mia, but when they would do scenes, you always have to kind of like she's like fierce. She's fierce when she's acting. He said if you were doing like an action movie with her, he said you have to be careful. You have to watch her because her energy and it can get a little wild sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a director, I think it's important to be aware of those things, to know your actors and how to look out and get the best performances and keep them safe and others safe as well.
Any more tips?
That's all I got for tips.
I would definitely say this film, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah.
I give it a solid 8.
Yeah.
8.5. It was enjoyable. And again, upon second watch, I was like, yo, okay. Again, it's one after you get past the initial scares and you know what to expect and how it unfolds, you can enjoy it in a different kind of way now, because that tension, it won't be there, but it's you can just enjoy the sheer execution of it all and the performances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is, again, I'm in for these next two.
Yeah. Indeed. What are we watching next time?
As we alluded to, next time here on Filmmaker Commentary, we will be diving into the prequel to X. One Ty West directed, and Mia, what's our girl?
Goth.
Mia Goth. I wonder if that's a real last name or just stage name. And one starring Mia Goth in Pearl.
Yeah, that's an old school name. My grandmama's name Pearl.
Oh yeah, that definitely is a old school name. I always think of the Goody Mob. They had that one song, Mama, and one of the guys like, Pearl, my world. Okay. But yeah.
And y'all can catch us where?
Facebook.com/Filmmaker Commentary. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, and Spotify. Please check us out, and we'd love to receive a review from you. We're also on Twitter. You can catch him at Reggie Titus. I'm at KCG Smith 32. We're also on the gram at Filmmaker Commentary. He is at Reginald Titus Jr. That's JR. I'm at KCG Smith 32.
Until next time, peace.
Respect.